This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Happy 2020, Tim.
Happy New Year, Tom.
How is your new year going so far?
I've been very relaxed in the new year.
Hey, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
I've been, I wouldn't say it's a resolution.
Right.
Because it's a pretty selfish resolution to be like, I'm going to try to be more relaxed and comfortable.
No, that's not selfish. I mean, New Year's resolutions could be selfish. That's fine.
Okay. Also,
and it's not selfish to the people around you.
I'd like you to be
being
nicer to me.
You being relaxed would be a way I could be nicer to you.
Okay.
So
I'm into it.
There, it's not selfish at all.
Great. I'm just
you can't make resolutions for other people.
Well, yeah, I guess not. Yeah. You can try, though, and you can change people.
Well, but my resolution is to be meaner to you in 2020.
No, but why would you do that?
Well, because I got to even things out.
All right. How are you doing in this 2020?
I'm good, Tim, but I'll tell you, I'm a little worried about something.
Oh, no.
A little something that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, I think we all are.
There have been a lot of Mothman sightings in Chicago. In and around Chicago lately, in and around the Great Lakes area.
Is this why you stay out of Chicago?
We were in Chicago a few months ago. I wish I'd known. I would have kept my eyes out for old Mothy.
You said before we started recording, I got something to talk about up top.
Yeah, I do.
And you'll hate it.
Yeah. I kept my New Year's resolution then?
Yeah. And I'm cool as a cucumber. Tell me more about the Mothman sightings.
So there have been something like 139 sightings recently in the Chicago area.
Now remind everybody what a Mothman is.
Nobody knows for sure. I'll tell you what he looks like, though.
Okay.
He's tall, 7 to 9 feet tall.
Oh, so already you're out.
No, thank you. 7 to 9 feet tall. Usually has.
You're very intimidated by tall people, tall women especially, right, Tom?
No, I'm intimidated by tall people.
Yeah, but specifically tall women.
No, I'm not intimidated by tall women. I'm more intimidated by tall men.
You're intimidated by men who are taller than you, but you're also
significantly taller.
And you're intimidated by a woman who is more than 5 feet and 5 inches tall.
That is not true. But I am tall. I am very scared of a 7 to 9 foot person in general.
Yeah, but they always seem like so unstable.
Gentle giant.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you can just push them over?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability.
Wrap
there.
a cable around them, a la Star Wars.
Yeah.
So then they fall
Run
over.
through their legs, and as you're doing it, jump up and punch them in the crotch.
But a 7 to 9 foot person who is also a Mothman.
Now, what is a Mothman?
Please. A Mothman, so 7 to 9 feet tall, right off the top.
Yes, we know.
Piercing.
You mentioned that.
Usually piercing red eyes, glowing red eyes.
Some people like that.
No, people don't like that. And then the biggest
red eye, like illuminated red eyes.
Illuminated,
okay.
not bloodshot.
Okay.
But then the biggest turnoff. Huge wings, huge leathery wings that it flies with.
How do we know they're not angels?
Because this thing does not look like an angel, Tim. It looks like an angel of hell, maybe.
So, what is the general thinking? Who are these guys?
So these guys started appearing in Point Pleasant, Virginia, near Washington, D.C. That's why I said that.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, I think it was.
Do we think it's some sort of government testing thing gone wrong?
No. Well, maybe originally, but
then the devil got involved?
No, the
devil broke into a government research lab?
It doesn't have anything to do with the devil, Tim.
You just
don't belittle it.
It had glowing red eyes.
Yeah,
like
that doesn't always
himself.
mean the devil always has glowing red eyes. And I think Lucifer was very person-like. That's how he would, get people to do his bidding.
People-like?
Nah, they got red eyes. They got red eyes and big wings like a moth. They were seen in the 70s in Point Pleasant, Virginia. there were a lot of sightings, a lot of reports about it. And then there was a huge bridge collapse and a bunch of people died.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's seen them around there since. So the thinking is like they had, not that they had something to do with it, but that they were almost as a warning.
So maybe the Mothmen are there to protect us? If you see the Mothmen, get the hell out of Chicago?
Yeah, that's the thinking. Maybe not. Maybe they're not there to protect us, but they are somehow drawn to these types of events.
I have a stupid question, Tom.
Mm-hmm. Hey, when it comes to the Mothman, there are no stupid questions.
Okay, great. You said that there have been an increase in sightings in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
Did you read this, like, what, in the New York Times? Washington Post, maybe?
No, Tim, you can't trust those mainstream rags. They're going to try and tell you.
Where do you get news about the Mothmen? This is an honest question, and I'm not going to mock you.
I get news about the Mothman from Amazon Prime documentaries.
Wait.
And?
Like a daily...
No, this was a recent one, but it was just the beginning. And then YouTube. YouTube has a lot of information about the Mothman.
How
for people
up
that
to
are
date is...
Up to date, Tim. Sometimes it's practically live how quickly they're getting the information out.
Okay.
Most of the sightings were 2 years ago.
Oh, all right. Tom, you had me all worried.
But I think they've been increasing anyway. People have been, the sightings I think started getting.
Who sees these people?
Let me tell
These
you,
Mothmen.
Tim, two different
And
sightings.
why are they Mothmen?
Look.
Do we know?
No, I don't think we know for sure, but it seems like they're bad. So
Seems
they're
like
men.
an outdated way. Nomenclature.
Well, if you started calling them moth women, I feel like that would imply something.
Moth folk.
Moth people.
They're not people. They're moths.
Oh, so now they're not people? Wow, Tim. Way to dehumanize the Mothmen. What was the question? Where do I find information?
No, you told me YouTube.
Oh, who's been
Joe
seeing
Rogan's
these things?
YouTube channel.
No, it's not Joe Rogan. Let me tell you who's been seeing them. A lot of everyday folks, but then also 2 different police officers.
What? Tell me more about these police officers.
This one time, this cop was like driving around and he saw a bunch of people pointing and stuff up at the sky. So, he pulled over and he's like, all right, let's see what this is all about, him and his partner. And they're like, look. And he looks, sure as the day is long, Mothman up on the roof.
Holy hell.
So he wants to get a better look. He's afraid, he thinks, being an officer of the law, that this is a disturbed person in a costume, potentially contemplating suicide.
How do they know it's not a hero
What do you mean?
in a costume?
Like
vigilante.
Batman
Yeah.
or something? I think the glowing red eyes are a...
Batman has glowing red eyes
no,
sometimes.
he doesn't. He has glowing white eyes sometimes.
No, he puts on his X-ray vision, his X-ray
You can do that
specs.
with the white eyes. It's fine.
Okay.
I think you might be thinking of the Batman of Earth 2, Thomas Wayne.
Yes.
Sometimes he has glowing red eyes.
Indeed.
He also uses guns, which is... So he comes from a world where instead of Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed, Bruce Wayne got killed as a kid and drove both of his parents mad. His dad became a Batman with guns, and his mom became the Joker.
His mom became the Joker.
Yeah.
Why does the Joker always have to factor into this?
I don't know. I mean, if it was like, here's a world where Bruce Wayne got murdered instead of his parents and nothing happened. And
No, his
wouldn't wanna
dad
read
turned
it.
into Batman. That's enough.
Yeah, well, but you also, for it to be Batman, you need the Joker in there.
I don't think
you need
that's
his
true.
rogues gallery in there. And what's an interesting twist on that than having his mom become the Joker because she's so overridden with guilt, she becomes crazy.
So does Batman know that his mom is the
Martha?
Joker?
Yes.
Martha?
Mm-hmm.
Do they still live
how
in
do
the
you
same
know
house?
that name, Tim?
I love that joke, though.
No, they don't still live in the same house.
So they get a divorce?
You
I
know
mean-
what? That's a good question. Maybe it was never actually finalized because I imagine once you turn into the Joker, you probably don't have a lot of time for, court filings and stuff.
Right.
Somebody might come to serve, a process server comes to serve.
And then she's like, hey, smell the flour on my lapel. And
face melts off with acid.
Yeah. Knockout gas.
Just knockout gas.
Yeah.
And the person wakes up later and they're like, damn it.
She's gone. I couldn't serve her the papers.
Tim, the Joker is so much more twisted than that.
Maybe the twisted nature on Earth 2 is that she doesn't kill people.
But to the people of Earth 2, they don't know about the Joker of Earth 1, so it wouldn't be twisted to them.
Maybe the whole twisted gambit is that she's doing it for us. She knows she's in a comic
Earth
book.
1.
Yeah.
Huh. That is pretty twisted.
Yeah,
I take
it's
it back.
Deadpool-esque twist.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
What could be more twisted than living your whole life as a performance to an observer in a different dimension?
So,
that's how I like to live my life.
What?
As if I'm a character in a TV show. And
I've talked about this. Every once in a while, I when I'm alone, I'll say, like, I know you can watch me. I know you can see me.
No, that's weird.
Well, but think about how much I'm scaring somebody if they're watching me and seeing me.
No,
it's worth doing. It takes 2 seconds out of your day.
That's true.
Make it part of your morning routine. Make a cup of coffee. Make your bed. Get your clothes ready for the day. Say to a wall, I know you can see me. I know you're watching me. And then take a shower.
You should scream it for extra emphasis.
Yeah.
And start banging on the walls.
Well, you want other people to know about it.
I think you should, maybe those are the ones who are watching.
So anyway, the guy, the cop sees the Mothman, and he thinks this is maybe some wannabe vigilante or somebody about to kill themselves in a costume.
Mm-hmm.
So he shines one of those big police lights on it. Damn thing flies away.
Maybe it was a bat.
A 9-foot tall bat? If it was, Tim, that's just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah, that's. I'd rather a Mothman than a huge bat.
I'm way less afraid of moths than bats.
Yeah. So what do you think the end game is here? Like, why are you afraid of Mothman?
Who said I'm afraid?
You said you're worried.
I'm worried because a lot of times they portend tragedy.
Right. Because it happened one time.
I think it happened twice, but I forget where the other time was. I mean, Mothmen don't pop up that often.
Yeah.
You've never seen one. I've never seen one. So they don't really pop up that often.
But I've seen a lot of stuff go down, Tom.
Like what?
Horrible things. And there's been nary a
Mothman to be found?
Yeah, to warn me.
They stick to rivers and lakes for the most part, we think.
Okay.
All right, Tim. Look, while only the top 1% of intellectuals in the world are worried about Mothman, the rest, the dregs of society.
The dregs?
Well, not the dregs.
There's you, the enlightened. There's the enlightened few that are worried about Mothman,
right? And
then everybody else on Earth is the dregs of society.
Yeah, everybody not doing something about it.
Okay, and what are you doing about the Mothman?
Oh, you'll see. Everybody else, Tim, has got Star Wars fever.
If, dear listener, if you couldn't tell already, this is a classic Tom episode.
What? Just because there was some Mothman talk up top?
And now Star Wars.
Tim, I am famously not a big fan of Star Wars. People are always surprised about that. But yeah, I wasn't exposed to it as a kid. So I have like no nostalgia for it.
When did you first see Star Wars? A New Hope, Episode 4.
When it got reintroduced into theaters when I was like a
1997?
Teenager. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. They put computer graphics. It still looks old, though.
Yeah. I like to get in the toys from Taco Bell during that re-release.
Yes, same here.
Still got a couple of them.
Does Taco Bell even do toys anymore?
I don't think so. They don't need to.
Yeah.
They got tacos.
Exactly. Because I know like McDonald's. Does Burger King? Yeah, I think Burger King still does toys. I mean, I know McDonald's does.
Yeah.
But I don't think Taco Bell does anymore.
No, they must.
Taco Bell?
Must. They simply must. How would we know about it? Well, you would know.
Yeah, I go to Taco Bell. I would see if they have the toys
Taco
out.
Bell, I know that they don't have toys.
Yeah.
Burger King, it seems like, have they disbanded the kids club?
I don't know. It's crazy. There's like 6 Burger Kings in Manhattan. I don't understand how there are so few Burger Kings.
Oh, I couldn't tell what you meant by
because
that.
Burger King's such a ubiquitous fast food chain, and yet there's hardly any in the most populated city in America.
Yeah. I mean, 6 isn't nothing. You have one right near your office that you go to.
No, I don't.
Really?
No, I wish.
Ah.
I have a Wendy's, a Taco Bell Cantina now,
a
McDonald's, a Five Guys, a Dairy Queen, and a Chipotle.
You really know it all, huh?
Yeah.
You would think that getting drunk at a Taco Bell Cantina would not be a positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice.
Oh, you've done it?
Yeah.
Huh.
You order food and then you order a Baja Blast.
Baja Blast margarita?
Yeah.
Baja Blasts are good.
I don't. What is that? Just kind of like a
It's
tropical.
It's
Slurpee?
a Mountain Dew, but it is a Taco Bell exclusive flavor, if I'm not mistaken.
Tastes just like all the other things.
It's a little more subtle than Mountain Dew.
I don't like when you call different variations of soda subtle. There's nothing subtle about soda.
No, it's more subtle because Mountain Dew is extreme, of course. That's their brand.
Yeah.
They're in your face. And Baja Blast, you would assume it's a blast of something from Baja, Mexico, California.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in each, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The Baja area. You would think a blast, well, probably ocean water or sand.
Yeah, there's no ocean water in it.
There might be, but it's good. But I've never gone to a Taco Bell Cantina. I plan on doing so soon. I plan on remedying that.
I went to one. It was very crowded. It was very chaotic, and I still had a great time.
I feel like their drinks, alcoholic drinks, are overpriced there for what they are.
Not by the way they pour at the one that I went to.
Huh.
I went there's one right across the street from the King's Theater, Tom.
Yeah.
So if you ever go to a show there, just plan to get hammered at the Taco Bell across the street first. And you get a cheesy gordita crunch or a crunch wrapped supreme or whatever you want.
I went to
cheesy fiesta potatoes if you want.
I went to see David Blaine with friend of the show Paul McKenna.
Yeah. Who
ran across the street in a torrential downpour to go to the Taco Bell Cantina, and it was closed. So all he got was wet.
And almost hit by a car.
And that was his Baja Blast. Tim, this week we're talking about Star Wars. It's on everybody's mind. Everybody's saying Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars.
In a positive way.
Not always. There are 3 Star Wars properties right now out there.
Luke Skywalker.
No. There's Jedi Fallen Order. It's a video game. The Mandalorian, which is a Disney Plus TV show.
A streaming television program.
And the episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Which is a theatrically released movie.
Motion picture.
Directed by Jar Jar Abrams.
Yes.
Did anybody ever make that joke?
No, I think you're the first.
Wow.
Tim, I have finished all 3 of these properties in an attempt to become a Star Wars man.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
You've seen all the other Star Wars films?
Yeah.
Oh, you recently watched them all on Disney Plus.
Them. Yeah.
Okay. And you've never really been a fan, but you devoted, 12 hours plus?
Oh, I mean, just the movies. I don't know how long the game took me to beat.
And do you feel like, did you read any of the extended universe novels that they made not canon?
That I didn't get around to.
You know what? So there was hundreds of novels, right?
Yeah, a lot.
And then all this other ancillary stuff.
Yeah, all this stuff that came out mostly after the original trilogy,
which had the blessing of Lucas and the other creators.
Yeah, they had to run things by him at least, I think.
Right. And so there
were certain things that were off limits to them.
Right. So they spent like 30 years building up all this lore, and then Disney bought it. And it was just like, hey guys, go to hell, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Everybody's so mad at Disney about that. That's kind of funny. I know that's important to people, but like, hey, then just just pretend that it. People are too attached to Star Wars, I think.
Yes,
but maybe not. Maybe people are entitled to like what they like.
I get that. I totally understand Disney, though, that like they bought this property. They're not going to be like, all right, well, let's make sure the next movie we make stays in the canon of these 130 books that like a small percentage of Star Wars fans have read. And also, if we do that, people watching the new movies are going to be real confused, probably.
Right.
Because they got rid of the...
You're all for a big corporation coming in.
Yeah, clean up messes. Making a bunch of art irrelevant.
Yeah, and just being like, we're going to do it this way, and we're going to dumb it down as much as possible.
Right, and there will be more toys this time. I have another point in my head that I'm trying to remember.
Trying to suppress?
No, I was going to say that they're making a bunch of new novels and comics and stuff.
Right.
I think it was mostly like, look, we got to like kind of wipe the slate. These things were all made with the idea that there not going to ever be any more Star Wars movies.
Right.
But guess what? There are going to be a lot more Star Wars movies. So we need to kind of wipe that slate of things that only a small percentage of people were into.
Right. And those people have gotten over it?
No.
Oh.
I mean, no. Some have, sure, but I think most haven't. And the weird, but no, I would say I think a lot of people have, because I think a lot of people understand, well, those books I like still exist. That's still a thing. Look at Marvel, for example. The movies and the comics are different from each other. That doesn't mean one's canon and one's non-canon.
Right.
It's just whatever you want.
Hey, whatever you want. That's a very forward thinking. Hey, it's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah. I will say, this isn't necessarily what I want to talk about first, but one of the executive producers of The Mandalorian is apparently this guy, Dave Filoni. He's the...
More like Dave Baloney, right?
He's like
Just full of baloney.
The protege of George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, who's George Lucas?
He's the man behind it all. He's got gray hair and a beard. He doesn't have a neck.
And he talks like this, kind of.
When I was making Indiana Jones,
I like George Lucas.
Nah, I think, you know what, and a lot of people have come around on him of like, you know what, this guy was making weird stuff and he kind of didn't care if people liked it or not.
Yeah. And
that's admirable.
Yeah, but then everybody was also really mad because they didn't like it.
Yeah, remember there was that documentary, The People versus George Lucas?
Yeah.
Well, come on. If you don't like a guy's stuff, find other stuff. There's other stuff.
And at the time, I thought it was kind of funny. Patton Oswalt had that bit about beating George Lucas to death with a shovel before he could make the prequels and ruin his legacy. And it's like, come on, man. This guy just made a thing that you liked.
Yeah. Well, and now you see what happens. Somebody gets a bunch of shit thrown at him for 20 years and they go, fuck it. I'll take $4.5 billion and not have this problem anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was going to say the executive producer, Dave Filoni, said the best piece of advice that George Lucas ever gave him, which you're going to love, was...
Never give up.
No. Well, Tim...
It's good advice.
It is good advice. No, it was Star Wars is for children. These are stories that are meant to help children learn, help people when they're at a time in their lives, like not like children,
learn their ABCs.
No, I think he wasn't talking. He wasn't talking about kids. He was talking about like 10 to 13-year-olds.
Yeah,
where it's like that time in your life.
10 to 13-year-olds. So he said.
10 to 13-year-olds. That time in your life when you're trying to make sense of the world, and that these are basically morality stories, and these help a kid make sense of things and say, you know what, this guy's a good guy. I want to be like a good guy. I want to lead a nice life. I don't want to lie or cheat or be bad. I'm going to be like Luke Skywalker and have a laser sword.
Cool. I think they also have a lot to say about power.
Yes.
And misuse of power.
Right, which is also, you're never too young to learn about that, how that can be a bad thing.
Exactly. Sometimes you just have to fight the government.
Right. Yeah, because sometimes the government's bad.
Yeah.
And you need to get a laser sword and fight the head of the government who also has a laser sword.
Yeah, and blasters.
And blasters, though. A lot of times you can use those swords to deflect the blasters.
But what about an X-Wing, right?
What about an X-Wing?
It's some sort of ship?
Yeah. But if somebody's like inside, you can't use the ship.
Right.
Tim, let me start off with the perhaps least controversial. No, not only one of these is controversial. The video game. I played this game, Jedi Fallen Order. You play. It's after episode 3, but before episode 4.
Okay.
And you're a Jedi when they're trying to get rid of all the Jedis. And you know what's fun about the game?
What?
You get to be a Jedi. You get to hit people with your sword. It's kind of a clunky game. The story is okay, not great.
Clunky in the gameplay?
It feels like it's not, like it was put out before it was ready.
Right.
Glitchy. It's like kind of a glitchy game a little bit.
Cool.
But it was fun to play. I liked it. I finished the whole damn thing, and I don't do that very often. It's not a super long game, but I don't do that very often with games nowadays. And I finished the whole thing. It was fun.
Nice.
Got to hit people with my sword.
Now you play as Luke Skywalker?
No, you play as a whole new guy. This game has...
Hans Solo.
No. I'm going to get to why, when we talk about other things, why this is good. But what I like about this game is I don't think it has any characters we've seen before. Oh, it does.
Jabba the Hutt.
Forrest Whitaker is in it.
It's so weird.
Playing his character again for a minute.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But other than that, it's not like, oh, you're the player and, oh, look who's here. It's Luke Skywalker.
Forrest Whitaker as Ghost Dog shows up in this.
He's not playing Ghost Dog. He's playing, I forget what his name is, but he's like a rebel leader.
Okay.
He was in Rogue One, and now he's back in this.
People love that Rogue One movie.
So that might be my favorite Star Wars movie.
That's
as somebody that doesn't really like Star Wars.
Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, probably. I mean, a lot of Star Wars people don't really like it, I think.
Yeah.
Because
a lot of Christmas people don't really like Die Hard.
It's true. It doesn't really add much, I think, to the overall story. But I like the way it's just kind of like a war movie. Finally bringing the war to Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, they have wars in the other ones. Trade wars.
Right. The most diabolical wars of all.
Yeah. You rewatched the prequels.
Yeah.
I know you have like things you want to say and an agenda that you want to push, Tom.
No, I don't.
But I just want to get some context. In watching the prequels, did you appreciate the nuances that people maybe now that you're not surprised by the fact that it's like, hey, these movies are kind of boring,
right?
Actually watching them going and being like, okay, I know they're going to be kind of boring, but let me see what I can take from this.
Yeah, I mean, they like deepen the canon for some things, but they are still just like real boring movies to watch. And it's a weird thing because you have to watch these movies in release order. You can't watch them in chronological order because it does that thing that everything does with prequels where
the winks.
Yeah, there's just constant winks of like, oh, look, if you were to say a kid nowadays watching
Which
these
I
movies, you had never seen these movies and you watch them in order, episode 1 through 9, you would be like, why are they focusing on this weird little thing, or why did this person say this line that's out of place? And it's all just winks to the trilogy.
Yeah.
The original trilogy.
I mean, that's everything. That's prequels.
But I think George Lucas nowadays says
telling movie like this takes place between this movie, and this is a prequel. That stuff is all just fan servicey.
Rogue One is a little less, I think.
Yeah.
Like there aren't really Jedis in Rogue One or anything. Like it's telling a story that you get a brief reference to in the later movies, but it's still like somewhat self-contained.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this boring because I don't like Star Wars, or is this conversation just...
What? All right. Next, would you like to talk about a good Star Wars thing or a bad Star Wars thing?
I want you to tell me about what you want to talk about. I'm sorry. I feel like I've been asking too many questions.
No, it's fine. Let's talk about a good Star Wars thing before we get into a bad Star Wars thing.
Okay.
A good Star Wars thing is The Mandalorian.
It's a streaming television program.
Yeah. Now, you were telling me earlier you watched 3 episodes, 3 out of the 8.
I did.
And what did you think?
I thought it was kind of I thought it was okay.
Okay.
I thought it was a little dumb.
Yeah.
In the way that it's like, this is going to happen. Like, like a whole episode. And I've only seen a couple episodes, right? So, but the whole episode, just like, I know what's going to happen. He's going to, spoiler alert, go back and get that baby Yoda back because he cares about that Yoda. And it's like, it's cool. And it's like, all right, well, that's what this episode is about. And look, I know it's going to happen, but like, it's fun seeing it happen.
Well, I was going to say that I think...
Too violent.
Too violent? There's no blood.
It's still violence.
It's lasers, Tim. It's laser tag. They're just getting the thing on their chest activated. It means they're out of the game. Their mom picks them
up from the Qzar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say earlier? Oh, that it's like too predictable. I was going to say that I would assume that you agree with me that this whole like spoiler culture is bad. That if something's good, it can't be spoiled for you.
I disagree.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't think anything should be relying on crazy twists.
Right.
And cheap thrills, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think I like to go into something and not really
know
true. Where it's going.
My favorite movie of the decade was Parasite, and it was the only movie I went into not knowing anything about it except the director.
Yeah, I don't want to know anything about anything before I see it.
Yeah, but I think a good thing can still thrive despite it knowing what happens.
Yeah, Quantum Leap every week. He's gonna go in and he's gonna be like, oh, I'm in this person's body now, and then
brother,
he's like, and then he's gonna save him by the end.
Yeah,
except for that weird last episode.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, that creeped me out.
So The Mandalorian, it's following Western tropes. It's following samurai movie tropes, but it's fun as heck. It's a lot of fun. And he doesn't take his helmet off.
Right. Everybody, you mentioned that a lot.
Yeah.
And I saw people getting real up in arms like, is that really Pedro?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. It's like, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, it is, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure that...
There were these truthers that were like, oh no, this photo from the set was leaked before they announced that Pedro Pascal was attached.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Who cares? Why can't you just watch something and enjoy it?
Yeah.
Or not enjoy it? I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to.
I mean, I'm sure that they use stunt doubles.
Why?
For him. That's not always him.
I thought it's just lasers, Tom.
It doesn't matter if he's in shape or not. Well, sometimes those lasers start fires.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's in shape or not. It's more about, well, if he gets hurt, We can't have every episode from now on having the Mandalorian limp around or have crutches.
So just put a helmet on a different guy.
Yeah, it's true. I guess they should just risk hurting him. And then they can safely be like, well, we had to put a helmet on a different guy.
Yeah, this idiot went and got himself hurt.
he didn't
set on fire by a laser.
Far enough away from that fire. But I loved it. It was a great show. I mean, I immediately canceled Disney Plus after it was done because
why?
Because I don't need to see the Lizzie McGuire reboot or whatever.
What about the 101 Dalmatians live action?
Is that going to Disney Plus?
It's already there.
No, it's not. The new one with Emma Stone?
Oh wait.
Yeah. You're thinking of Lady and the Tramp.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't watch that either. I told you I watched about 10 minutes of Noelle starring Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader.
You're like one of those guys
Shirley
from the
MacLaine.
80s. You're one of those 80s guys that's just like, I'll watch any movie with this babe in it.
I like Anna Kendrick.
I know you watch so many movies outside of your wheelhouse because you're like, hey, yeah, I like that lady.
I watched 10 minutes of it though, and I was like, this sucks. I can't watch anymore. Nothing's happening in this movie.
You watched some Duplass Brothers movie that she was in.
Yeah.
Name one other Duplass Brothers movie you ever watched.
I think she's been in 2, and I've seen both of them.
I bet if Wes Anderson cast her in a movie, you'd be there opening night.
If I was invited to the premiere, yes, of course. Tim, how am I going to turn that down? I've never been invited to an opening premiere for a movie.
I have.
So
you're not going to ask me what
no, because what was it?
It was the Tim Burton film Big Fish.
How were you invited to that?
A friend invited me.
Okay.
I don't know how he got the ticket. I had to sit behind the giant man. I couldn't see the screen that well.
Well, rest in peace. He's no longer with us, so I hope you're happy.
Well, I didn't wish bad things to happen to him.
You wish you could see.
I didn't see the movie My Giant, though, because of it.
Right. You didn't want to fall into the same trap.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, what was I saying about it? It's very good.
You liked it.
Yeah, it's very good. I liked it. Oh, I canceled Disney Plus right after it was over. But now there are going to be 2 Marvel shows this year, so I'll re-up Disney Plus when those shows come back.
Please keep us posted.
I will. But yeah, I would say, especially like if you're into Star Wars, even if you're not into Star Wars, like your old pal Tom, if you're into space westerns.
Isn't that what Star Wars is?
It's like a space opera.
Oh, yeah.
Sign up for the free trial or whatever.
But don't take my word for it.
and watch it. I think altogether it's probably like, I don't know, 4 hours long. Like the episodes aren't that long.
They're like 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I really like about that show?
Mm-hmm.
The music over the closing credits.
Yeah, and they show the concept art.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
It reminded me of sitcoms in the 80s when they would show stills from the show that you just watched over the credits.
Yeah, they show concept art. And that's actually, I've watched a behind the scenes thing. And Pedro Pascal was saying when he got the job, he was just called and they were like, hey, Jon Favreau wants to meet you about a Star Wars thing. And he's like, I didn't know what it was. Like that would be a TV show. I thought it would probably be a movie or whatever. And he's like, he brought me into a room and they had all this concept art. And I assume it's the same concept art. And he was like, I saw how fleshed out they had all this stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm in.
And that guy looks like me if I was wearing that helmet.
I think there's even a drawing or two of him without the helmet, and he still kind of looks like Pedro Pascal.
Does he take the helmet off? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know.
He does for a minute in the last episode.
To tie his shoes.
Yeah, it's very anticlimactic. It's like that. I just can't see. You know what? The hell with it. He takes it off. Really. He's like, nobody saw that, and he puts it back on.
Yeah. Everybody stayed mum because he had a blaster.
Right.
He committed violence for the last 33 minutes.
It's violence on aliens, so it's fine. Or it's violence either on aliens or other guys who never take their helmets off, so they're not humans. But yeah, the concept art's great. They show it at the end of the episode, and you're like, I remember that part. I remember that part. It's my favorite part. Tim, now let me get into some Star Wars that isn't so good. I saw The Rise of Skywalker as Star Wars Episode 9.
All right. I don't think you can accurately explain your position unless we all know what you thought of the first two movies in the new trilogy. I have not seen The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
I tried watching The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I fell asleep during both of them, but I thought they were pretty good.
I thought they were good. Like both of them, when I saw them, I thought they were good.
Mm-hmm. Then you did your rewatch.
Yeah. Then when I rewatched, I didn't like them for different reasons.
Why?
Like the Force Awakens is just kind of it's such a retread of A New Hope.
Yeah.
That it's kind of boring to watch, and also when you start to realize that it's setting up a bunch of stuff that they didn't think all the way through.
Yeah.
You kind of get frustrated watching the setups because you're like, yeah. All right, I know this plot line doesn't go anywhere or it gets negated in the next movie.
Right.
So stop spending time on it. Like nothing feels consequential in the movie.
Okay.
A New Hope, or not A New Hope, The Last Jedi on rewatch was... I felt like not much happened in it. Like Rey goes to train, but you don't really see much of the training. Like it seems like it's just for like a few days.
A lot of it seemed to be her trying to convince Luke Skywalker to stop being such a dang curmudgeon.
Yeah, which I feel like is a trope that I've seen too many times where it's like, yeah, I know. In the end, he's gonna...
Yeah, but that's all these movies, Tom.
Right.
It's all the movies that you love, too. It's all the Marvel movies, too.
No, it's different. Yeah, so that was just kind of boring to me to watch again. And yeah, character motivations are weird in that movie. They make Isaac or Oscar Isaac's character just kind of like, I don't know, like a dope, like a hothead.
That's cool. There are hotheads.
Yeah, but this guy's like frustratingly a hothead. We're like before...
Most hotheads I know, Tom, are pretty frustrating.
That's true.
I'm looking at one right now.
In the other movie, in the first movie, it's like, he's like charming or whatever. In the second movie, you're like, this guy's a moron. Somebody should kill him before he gets more people killed. So that was my thoughts on the last two before going into The Rise of Skywalker. This movie, The Rise of Skywalker, this movie just makes no sense. The opening scroll says the dead live, and it explains that the Emperor is alive.
Palpatine.
He's alive. Spoilers for The Rise. If you haven't seen it by now, you don't care. He's alive. He'd been alive this whole time. And even though there was no hint at that being a possibility in the previous two movies, he's back. But
surprise! That's a well-executed surprise, Tom.
It's a well-executed surprise that happened off-screen that is not shown to us unless you played Fortnite the weekend before.
Mm-hmm.
And then they broadcast the message in Fortnite.
Right.
So you need to
love that kind of synergy.
No, this was too much. This was like bad. Kylo Ren goes to him and he's like, "Oh, hey,
Kylo Ren is Adam Driver."
Yeah,
Adam Driver.
Adam. He's like, "You're the new big bad guy, huh?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What about the other big bad guy who was my boss before?" He's like, "Oh, that was a clone. I made him, and I was influencing him and influencing you to get to Rey." It's like, well,
Rey is Daisy Ridley.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the main protagonist of the movie, the three movies.
Right.
It's like, well, why'd you go through all that trouble? Why didn't you just go to Rey? She was just like a scavenger on a desert planet. It would have been very easy to just be like, "Hey, you're coming with me, the big bad guy."
Right.
But he didn't do that. And then the rest of the movie is everybody having to find a thing to find another thing to find another thing.
Yeah, but you love movies like that.
No, this was
Collect the Infinity Stones.
No, collecting the Infinity Stones is a lot different. And it's not like every Infinity Stone had a clue to the next Infinity Stone.
You love scavenger hunts, Tom.
No, in real life, sure.
Yeah.
But not in a movie. I don't like to watch. And
you should set up a scavenger hunt for us and all our friends.
There's fun ways to do a scavenger hunt, but this is just like, they find a dagger and the dagger has an inscription of where the next thing is.
Yeah, it's the mystery box.
No, it's just lazy and boring. And then at the end ripped off Avengers Endgame 100%. Where instead of
they made it in the 6 months since Avengers Endgame.
No, but they did do reshoots and stuff. They did reshoots in October. So I could see them being like, oh, you know what really worked?
What are you, a child, Tom?
What?
You don't realize how the same these movies are in every other way. And then you're like, the one part that worked, they ripped off from the movie that I liked.
Yeah. And I didn't even necessarily say it worked. I thought it was like kind of weak.
What did they do? They brought back all the characters from the other movies?
Well, they did that.
Mm-hmm.
They did, Falcon coming, saying on your left to Captain America, and all of a sudden all the good guys are there.
Mm-hmm.
They do that with Lando.
Man,
Billy D. Williams.
I didn't think all the good guys would come back for the big climactic final showdown.
But then also in Endgame, they had Thanos say, I am inevitable, and Tony Stark say, and I am Iron Man. In this movie, they have Palpatine say, I am all the Sith, and then she says, and I am all the Jedi, and then defeats him.
Yeah. The guy said, I'm bad and I'm good. You said that George Lucas, who I almost just called Charles Lucas.
Well, what's this young man's name? Charles Lucas?
You said that Charles Lucas said it's they're stories for children about good defeating evil.
Yeah.
And then the bad guy says, I'm bad, and then the good guy says, I'm good, and defeats them.
The message of the story is good. But it was just, they didn't build up the bad guy at all. All of a sudden, it's just like, oh, the bad guy from the old movies, he's back.
Yeah.
Well, where was he during this whole time? Biding his time.
Yeah.
He made a clone, and he had that guy go out. Why? Why did he make a clone? Why couldn't he go out? He couldn't yet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's stupid, Tom.
Yeah, it was real stupid.
But it's fine.
Well, that's what
they're for kids, and I see a lot of people getting real angry about this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not kids. The people that are getting real angry.
I've seen the people that you would think would get real angry at this. They're not angry at this. They're like, you know what? That was pretty good because there's so much fan service in it.
Yeah.
That the people that's all they want is just nods to things that happen in other movies. They're happy with this.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? That was good. I like that.
Yeah. The people I'm seeing getting mad were people who thought that The Last Jedi was interesting. And then they're just like, they just took everything that was interesting about that movie and undid it. You know what I hate about Star Wars? There's one thing I really hate about Star Wars.
The Sith.
No, they're pretty cool sometimes.
Oh,
Tom, I'm a bad boy.
Tim, that's going to lead you down to the dark side.
I'm a bad boy. I like to dabble in the dark side a little bit. They're always just like, hey, guess what? This person's related to this person. Isn't that crazy? What a twist. It's like, I don't care. Yeah, everybody's so far. Now 100 people are all related to 100 other people, and each one was supposed to be a surprise. They did that thing one time, and then they were just, and everybody's like, whoa, that was pretty cool. And they were like, oh, yeah? Well, what if this person is also this person's father?
Yeah.
And it stinks.
Yeah, so by the end of this, you find out that Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter.
Right.
And you find out that, like, Luke and Leia knew that the whole time, but it's supposed to be, like, a real powerful thing that they, like, helped her out anyway.
Right.
But it's like, but they were Darth Vader's kids. They know, like, oh, it doesn't matter who your parents are. And especially it doesn't matter who the hell your grandparents are. Because by all accounts, her parents were both good.
Right.
They like tried to get her away.
Well, it goes good, evil, good, evil.
Right. Most generations.
Yeah.
Most people
it's
we
like
know
baldness.
that's how. And at the end, the reason why it's called the Rise of Skywalker, her name's Rey Palpatine, we find.
Right.
That's some random old lady walking by goes, "Hey, what's your name?" And she goes, It's Rey Skywalker. And it's like, yeah, I think Skywalker's a pretty damn it. That was fucking Darth Vader's last name.
Yeah.
Like, that's also like a not great name. This old lady could have been like, oh, like that shithead with the plastic helmet on that committed genocide. It would be like my name's not Ray Hitler. It's Ray Stalin. Nobody would just be like.
What you don't understand is that Stalin's kids were really good people.
Right, they were very good. It makes no sense. It's just that they obviously started from the place of, all right, by the end of it, we have to say who Rey's parents are because that's like a real important thing. The ages kind of don't match up for her to be the kid of anyone because we've met most of those people. She's going to have to be the grandkid of somebody. I guess it'll be Palpatine, but that stinks. We don't want to call this the Rise of Palpatine, which actually would have been a way better name now I mention it. She'll say it's Skywalker at the end because everybody knows Luke Skywalker.
I don't understand when they're gonna release a trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Why they don't figure out what the three parts are going to be first?
Yeah, right.
At least have a semi outline.
Yeah, like this is where we want to go with it.
Yeah,
it just seems weird to me. Like, why do you have to fly by the seat of your pants like that?
Well, and that's the weird thing about the trilogy is that it's essentially two writer-directors not necessarily fighting with each other, but like wrestling. I guess wrestling's a type of fighting. Because I think basically J.J. Abrams was like, oh, I don't know what to do. Let's remake the first movie. And then Rian Johnson was like, cool, that's going to be boring as a trilogy. So let me like basically cut off.
No. J.J. Abrams went in and was like, look, the prequels were so different from the original one that people revolted and they couldn't relate to the characters.
Yeah.
And the story was it just felt like a different franchise.
Yeah.
And he was tasked with being like, hey, guess what? These are for everybody to get back on nostalgia for the old folks, and for the new kids,
right?
It's not going to be about trade wars and stuff.
Right.
And like George Lucas made the bad calculation, like, yeah, it's about trade wars, but we're going to have this wonderful Jar Jar Binks there for the kids,
right?
And that's
something for everyone.
Yeah, and that but I think J.J. Abrams was tasked to be like, hey, make this feel like the first one. And like, I think
he's good
in terms
at
of that,
emulating things.
And I think if I cared about Star Wars enough, and I had seen that in the theater, I would have been like, oh, this like at least makes me feel more like it's that one of those original beloved movies than the ones that have been besmirched.
I will say, I think like what Rian Johnson did was interesting of like, well, I'm going to cut off like all avenues of this thing to repeat the past. But I think that's also tough to do and then have another movie after that.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like, none of them were talking to each other. None of them were figuring out what the overall arc of these three movies should be.
There was one good thing that came out of this movie, Tom.
What's that?
We got an email from someone named Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Tim and Tom, I have listened to this podcast for years and subsequently have heard you, Tom, talk about 4DX movies. Intrigued and in a place where I could financially make such a ridiculous decision, my friend and I decided to go see the new Star Wars movie in 4DX.
Mm-hmm.
What a mistake. This movie experience was the worst I've ever had. I could not have been less immersed in the movie, being tossed around while getting whiplash and motion sickness. I can't Imagine having had snacks or a drink in that situation. It would have been even more of a disaster. The only saving grace was that the movie ended up being bad, so at least the 4DX experience didn't ruin a good film. I will now be taking Tim's side on every issue, as Tom has clearly proven himself to be a madman. Best of luck to you, Tim and Tom. I hope someday you'll be able to awake from this trance that... best of luck to you, Tim, semicolon. And Tom, I hope someday you will be able to wake from this trance that has convinced you that 4DX movies are good. Sincerely, Lily.
Well, I never said that 4DX was for the weak-hearted or the weak-minded. You want to solve a problem?
No.
That counts as just a problem?
Yeah, okay. Hello and welcome to Tim and Tom Solve Your Problems. I'm Tim.
I'm Tom.
We're going to solve problems.
If you have a problem you'd like us to solve, email us at thecompleteguideeverything@gmail.com. This email starts off with, please call me Martha. I don't know why she used that name. I adore your show and re-listen to old episodes all the time. Thank you for being my audio equivalent to comfort food. Normally a show hosted by two white guys would not really be my cup of tea, but you are an exception. Thank you.
Tim and Tom, the good white guys.
I moved to the other side of the country to be with a boy who I am now engaged to, so at least that worked out. Hey, congrats. And I was recently excited to find out that he has a lot of friends who like to throw parties for the holidays. 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, you name it. I love cooking. I love holidays. I love parties. This all seemed great. Here's my problem. While all his friends seem eager to snap up dates to host parties around the holidays, when it's actually time to post, they all seem to either forget that they were the hosts completely. Oh, I guess host was the word for post. Or like they hate doing this and put no effort in it at all. For example, we spent a couple of days creating costumes for a Halloween party and turned up with a couple of 6-packs of booze, only to find out that we had brought the only alcohol. There was no food except for some hamburgers. Oh, that's not bad. That he had made hours earlier. Oh. And which were not cooked in the middle, and a bowl of Halloween candy. Don't look, if you're at a party that's not like an outdoor grill party and they're like, oh, we made hamburgers, that's weird. Me and my boyfriend wind up having to turn around and take a trip to the nearest supermarket to buy snacks and alcohol, which we only just barely got to in time because they stopped selling booze, which would have been a real tragedy. There was no music playing. There was no indication whatsoever that these guys had remembered that this guy had remembered that he was having a party at all. Recently, his other friends offered to host a Friendsgiving, which I was looking forward to. I am an excellent cook, and they asked me to do a turkey, which I did. I also did the stuffing and the gravy, and I made a couple of other sides as well. I fully acknowledge that nobody asked me to do this extra stuff, but I got excited. Well, when we came to the end, the table wasn't set. Again, no music on, and people allegedly hosting the party were only making baked beans and eating some rolls.
Beans and rolls are integral to a Friendsgiving feast.
They had not made any real contributions to the meal, and once again, there was no alcohol. There was not even a variety of soft drinks, only full sugar Coca-Cola and water, plus a crock pot full of some weird hot chocolate. Ooh, that they made that nobody drank. You don't need a crock pot for hot chocolate.
I made a crock pot cider thing.
Oh, like a mulled wine?
Yeah.
Thing? Yeah, that's different, I feel like.
Yeah.
Hot chocolate's going to get a skin.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, anything with dairy in it you want to stay away from.
I fully recognize that I can go a bit over the top when I host parties. Yeah, and send emails. I make a lot of food and probably have too much booze for anyone to even drink. But in my opinion, when you agreed to be the host, that's what you sign up for. I'm getting increasingly frustrated at putting more effort. Blah, blah, blah. The person who hosted Halloween sent out a Facebook invite in late July. And the person who hosted a Friendsgiving sent one out in August. Why are they so excited to lay claim and not give a shit when it's actually time? Should I get over it and accept the fact that I'm going to go to a pretty depressing party around the holidays? Is there any subtle way to gently nudge hosts to do more and be better prepared? I would honestly love to just host every holiday, but that's a ton of money and labor and doesn't seem fair. Tim and Tom, what should I do? Follow up.
This was sent, or that original one was sent in early December.
Yes, and this follow-up was sent Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. I just want to send you guys an example of what I'm talking about. The Christmas party at one of these friends' houses was last weekend. Here's the toilet and the sink from their bathroom. The whole house was like this. And it's a toilet and a sink in pretty rough state.
First of all, don't send us a picture of a dirty toilet.
Yeah, under any circumstances, I would say.
And second of all, the whole house wasn't as dirty as the toilet. Otherwise, you would have sent a picture of another part of the house, because that would have been real egregious. Dirty toilet is gross, but it's like, if one place is going to be disgusting and gross in a house, it's going to be a toilet.
Right. That's where the poop goes.
Yeah. Martha? Mm-hmm. So Martha doesn't like that people put no effort into...
That they claim these holidays and then put absolutely no effort in.
Yeah, and then just have shitty parties.
Right.
And she... It's just like, well, I love hosting, I love cooking, I love everything. Right. Well, I would rather do these. But then she's like, that's too much money and effort. Which makes me think Martha, who I think started this by moving across country to be with the book, I think she just doesn't like these people.
A little bit, I would think.
Because even if there's a shitty party, like, Martha, you could bring some food and drinks over there, and technically you're not the host.
Right.
But if you like the people, and those are things that you want for a party, like you'd be like, the house was kind of messy, but I brought the things that I needed, and most of a party is just good company.
Yeah, well, to a certain degree.
She doesn't like these people.
I would say
they need to get out
if you bring booze and nobody else has booze, I would be like, oh, well, you guys should go get booze, huh?
Yeah. It
sounds like a little bit of enabling behavior that they assume she's going to go out, or maybe they just don't need booze as badly as Martha does.
Martha should show them how it's done.
Oh, host a party?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to have to lay claim real early.
Claim Christmas Eve right now. Martha, turn this off right now and go lay claim to Christmas Eve. But here's the thing. Don't make it so unattainable that they're like, I could never do this.
Right, yeah. Make it so they can see like, oh, this is how a regular party is.
Yeah, and then also have video tutorials playing in every section of the house saying like, hey, here's how you could make quick and easy streamers and decorate nicely.
She's not even looking for streamers. She's looking for music on a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah. And
some casseroles, maybe.
Have you ever had a party, Tom? Have you ever hosted a party?
No, I don't think so. Not at my apartment.
Not currently. We had a housewarming.
Yeah, you slept through it.
Yeah. When we were first roommates.
Yeah.
Because we had a big apartment because there were 4 of us.
Right. I don't think we ever had another party when it was just 2 of us.
No. I had a New Year's Eve party where I made the aforementioned mulled wine.
Right.
Which last week we figured out maybe you didn't attend?
Yeah. I don't think so. Now you're bringing it up again.
But number 1... music. You need music.
You need music. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I said, a Bluetooth speaker. Put the TV on and
that's depressing.
Put on MTV.
Oh, cool. You ever go on to Vivo, the Vivo app, Tom?
Yeah.
And you just find a 90s music video playlist? It's great. Yeah. It's like you're living in the 90s again.
People aren't going to be partying. They're going to be watching TV, though.
Yeah. They're going to be like, is that T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chili?
Yeah, it was back when they were all alive.
Yeah. I feel like I've gone in a time machine. All 3 members of TLC are alive and singing. Well, one is rapping. Left Eye.
If you like the show, you can find out more.
That was it?
Yeah. What?
We didn't solve her problem. Oh, yeah. Host Christmas Eve. Put the 90s Vivo channel on.
That's
Put up some streamers.
Get some crescent rolls.
Yeah. Make it attainable. Actually, you know what you do? Just be like, do the thing where like you assign one thing to each person.
Yeah, or put up like one of those Google Doodles.
Yeah.
And you have people fill out, or like a spreadsheet, and you say like everybody's got to bring a side, since you people love laying claim to shit.
Yeah.
Lay claim to what side you're going to bring.
Yeah, you're just going to get a bunch of old hamburgers from everybody.
Yeah. Or at the very least, put in the invite I mean, this might not be enough, but like, bring a liquor of your choice.
Yeah.
So people get the idea. You shouldn't
whip these people into shape.
I think a good, I've been to parties. Sure. A good rule of the best parties I've been at, not the best, but like a good standard party thing is that like the hosts will get a decent amount, say like 24 of like the cheapest beer they can find, but then tell everybody to bring beer.
Right.
Or liquor or whatever they want to drink. Maybe you get like a couple of bottles of cheap wine too. So now there's something for everyone, but everybody should bring their own stuff. But this is almost like a safety net of like, what if the party's really fun and everybody brings a 6-pack and everybody drinks 6 beers, but we want to keep the party going. Now there's something.
If everybody
there.
drinks 6 beers, I think it's time for everybody to go home.
These are young people, Tim. They might want to have more fun.
Yeah, that's a toilet only a young person has.
Oh, yeah. If that's like a person in their 30s, move back to wherever you came from, Martha. If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgt.com.
I hope nobody takes that last thing you said out of context.
What was it?
Move back to where you came from.
It was about toilets. We're
going to lose our status as the good white guys.
You can support. I meant the other side of the country. You can support the show by supporting our sponsors, also checking out tcgt.com/Amazon for your Amazon shopping and patreon.com/complete guide for your entertainment needs. This week, we're wrapping up Little Women. Tim has seen the movie. He has not told me about it yet, but he's going to. And that episode, guess what? It's available right now at patreon.com/complete guide, along with all the back episodes.
We've done a whole year of Books the Podcast.
Yeah, and you get all the other old stuff too. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/complete guide. Follow us on Twitter at complete guide. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at your pal Tim.
And that's all the plugs that anyone needs.
We need to shake things up, Tom.
Yeah. In the Star Wars universe. This show will now be canon.
In the Star Wars universe?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we get Kathleen Kennedy's sign off on that?
Yeah, probably.
She seems like a nice lady.
Yeah. Like, it's going to basically be the same show, but every once in a while, I'm going to say, hey, can you pass me a blue milk, Tim? I'm thirsty. I like a blue milk. That's a normal thing in the universe we live in.
Right.
Or I'll say I have to go to the trading outpost to get more.
Right. I'll start talking like Yoda.
All right. We'll see you next week.
You want to hear how?
No.
That was a HeadGum podcast.